Hello and welcome to the History of Things. I'm your host, and today we are embarking on a truly fascinating journey. We're going to explore a device that completely reshaped human connection, a machine that turned whispers into lightning. This invention closed vast distances in an instant, allowing a voice to travel across cities, countries, eventually oceans. It changed business, friendship, family forever. So, if you're curious about the stories behind the objects that define our world, you've come to the right place. We dive deep into history to uncover the full story. Before we begin our exploration, I want to ask for a small favor that helps us a lot. If you enjoy learning about the past and the incredible inventions that have shaped our present, please take a moment to hit that like button. It really helps our channel grow and reach more history enthusiasts like you. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell, so you won't miss any of our future deep dives. We have so many more stories to tell, and we'd love for you to be a part of our community of learners and explorers. In today's episode, we're going to unravel the complete history of the telephone. This isn't just a story about one inventor or one single eureka moment. It's a tale filled with intense rivalries, brilliant minds, unsung heroes who all played a part. We will travel back to a time when the fastest way to send a message was by horse or by train. We'll witness the desperate need for a new, instantaneous form of communication, and see the incredible race to create it. This is the story of how humanity learned to send its voice across a wire. Our journey will cover every major milestone in the telephone's incredible evolution. Finally, we'll see how the technology evolved, leading directly to the powerful smartphones we all carry in our pockets today. Imagine a world where hearing the voice of a loved one who lived just a few towns away was an impossible dream. Business deals could take weeks to finalize, relying on handwritten letters sent by post. Urgent news of a family emergency might not arrive until it was far too late to do anything about it. This was the reality for everyone before the 1870s. The world was a collection of isolated communities, and the speed of information was limited by the speed of physical travel. From there, your message would travel by horse-drawn carriage, by steam train, or by ship. This journey could take days, weeks, or even months depending on the distance. Wars could be fought and won before the news even reached the capitals of the nations involved. For centuries, humanity's greatest minds tried to conquer this problem of distance. Smoke signals, carrier pigeons, and signal fires were all early attempts, but the Industrial Revolution was about to change everything. Steam power was shrinking the world physically. Railroads were lacing continents together, steamships were crossing oceans faster than ever before, yet communication was still lagging behind. The first true breakthrough came not with sound, but with electricity. In the 1830s and 1840s, inventors like Samuel Morse harnessed the power of electromagnetism. They created a revolutionary device, the electric telegraph. This was a machine that could send pulses of electricity down a long wire. These pulses were translated into a system of dots and dashes, letters, numbers. For the first time in history, a complex message could travel faster than any horse or train. It moved at the speed of electricity. The telegraph system spread with incredible speed. Wires were strung alongside the new railway lines, creating a nervous system for the modern world. News of stock prices, political events, distant battles could be shared almost instantly. This transformed newspapers, finance, warfare. However, the telegraph had its own set of limitations. It was not a system for the average person. It was expensive, often priced by the word, making it a tool primarily for businesses, governments, newspapers. The messages themselves were short and impersonal, just cold dots and dashes printed on a strip of paper. There was no emotion, no tone, no hint of the human voice behind the words. This limitation sparked a new and even more ambitious dream. If electricity could carry coded pulses, could it also carry something more complex? Could it carry the actual sound of a human voice? The journey to the telephone begins with a different invention in mind. In the early 1870s, the telegraph was king, but its lines were crowded. Western Union offered a huge prize to anyone who could solve it. They wanted a harmonic telegraph, a device to send several messages at once. Each message would travel at a different frequency or musical pitch. The challenge sparked a fierce race for fame and fortune. Two inventors rose to the top, Elisha Gray, Alexander Graham Bell. They planned to use vibrating reeds, tuned to specific pitches, to send many telegraph messages over one wire. As they tinkered, both stumbled on a deeper possibility. What if they could send the infinite, complex vibrations of the human voice? This deep knowledge gave Bell a unique perspective. Other inventors like Elisha Gray treated the problem as electrical engineering. Bell treated it as a study of human speech. On June 2, 1875, the famous breakthrough happened by accident. One of Watson's reeds got stuck. To free it, he plucked it with his finger. In the other room, Bell was pressing a receiver reed against his ear. Suddenly, he heard a sound, not the monotone buzz, but a faint, twanging, musical reed sound. They had proven the undulatory current theory. 9 months of refinement followed. Finally, on March 10, 1876, the moment of truth arrived. Speaking into the mouthpiece, Bell said, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." In the other room, Watson heard every word clearly. The telephone was born. But Bell's breakthrough was immediately followed by controversy. On February 14, 1876, Bell filed his patent application just hours before his rival, Elisha Gray, filed a caveat for a similar design. What followed was a legal war. After years of litigation up to the Supreme Court, the decision favored Alexander Graham Bell. The courts upheld U.S. Patent 174,465, later called the most valuable patent ever issued. That victory gave Bell Telephone Company a complete monopoly. With the patent secured, Bell and his team faced a new challenge. In 1877, the first experimental telephone line was constructed, a simple 3-mile-long wire. The first telephone lines were leased in pairs to businesses. A banker might connect his main office with a branch across town. The technology was still very primitive. To get the attention of the person on the other end, you had to shout into the mouthpiece or tap on the diaphragm with a pencil. This early model of point-to-point connections quickly showed its limitations. Leasing separate private lines for every possible connection was completely impractical. The solution was the telephone exchange. The very first opened in New Haven, Connecticut in 1878. All the telephone lines in the city were routed to a central office. An operator would manually connect their line to the person they wanted to reach. This invention changed everything. You weren't just connected to one person, you were connected to everyone in your city. The first telephone operators were teenage boys who were often impatient and rude. In 1878, the Boston Exchange hired the first woman operator, Emma Nutt. She was a huge success. Soon, telephone companies almost exclusively hired women as operators. They became known as Hello Girls, and they were the public face and voice of the telephone network. These women were the essential human interface that made the technology work for ordinary people. Their role was crucial in demystifying the telephone and making it feel like a safe and accessible part of daily life. But as the number of subscribers exploded, the manual system showed its limitations. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source, an undertaker named Almon Stroger, who was convinced an operator was diverting his business calls. In 1891, he patented the first automatic telephone exchange. It was a machine that could respond to electrical pulses sent from a telephone, hunting for the line being called. To send these pulses, a new kind of telephone was required. This led to the rotary dial. The era of asking the operator was ending, replaced by the whir and click of the rotary dial. The rotary phone became the icon of communication for the first half of the 20th century. However, the process of making a call could still be slow. Engineers at Bell Labs developed a new system called dual-tone multi-frequency, or DTMF. Instead of clicks, each number was assigned a unique combination of 2 audio tones. Bell officially introduced the first push-button telephone to the public in 1963. They called it the touch-tone phone. It was a modern marvel. For nearly a century, the telephone had one fundamental limitation. It was physically tethered to a wall. People dreamed of being able to walk around the house while talking. The first cordless phones began to appear in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Despite initial flaws, the public was captivated by the sheer convenience of being untethered. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, phones moved to higher frequency bands, improving call clarity and range. Security was added, making conversations private again. The dream of a truly mobile telephone was championed by a tenacious Motorola engineer named Martin Cooper. On April 3, 1973, he made a public and symbolic first call. He said, "Joel, this is Marty. I'm calling you from a cell phone, a real handheld portable cell phone." But the phone needed a network. The cellular concept divided a city into cells, each with a low-power transmitter, allowing the same frequencies to be reused and supporting millions of users. It took a decade to build the first network. The first commercial brick phone, released in 1984, cost the equivalent of over $11,000 today. It was an exclusive status symbol. Throughout the 1990s, rapid technological advancements began to change everything. Phones got smaller, and costs began to fall dramatically. Companies like Nokia and Motorola realized consumers wanted personality. Phones appeared in a rainbow of colors with swappable faceplates, games, and customizable ringtones. The next logical step was to combine the connectivity of a mobile phone with the computing power of a personal digital assistant, or PDA. The moment that changed everything arrived on January 9, 2007. On stage in San Francisco, Apple's co-founder Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone. The iPhone's true innovation was its software. It replaced clunky physical keyboards with a large, vibrant multi-touch screen and a simple icon-based operating system. Its App Store, launched a year later, allowed developers to create their own apps, turning the phone into a camera, a navigation device, a gaming console, and a social network hub. We have journeyed through more than a century of innovation, from a world of silence to a world that never stops talking. We followed the wires as they spread, creating a web that was brought to life by an army of hello girls. The smartphone in your pocket is the culmination of every breakthrough we've discussed. It is a testament to human ingenuity and our unceasing need to connect. The journey from sending a single voice over a wire to carrying the entire internet in our pockets is a story about the human need for connection. And that concludes our deep dive into the incredible history of the telephone. We hope you found this journey as fascinating as we did. If you enjoyed traveling through time with us, please show your support by hitting that like button. And to make sure you don't miss our next exploration into the history of things, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. We have many more stories to share with you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode for another journey into the past.